What's up, Garden Warfare fans? It's StrangeLuv here, and the Garden Warfare 2 beta has officially come to a close, and now we have to play the waiting game. But you know what? Come February, it's only a month away, I think it's definitely going to be worth it, because I had a ton of fun during the beta, and I hope you guys did too. But now I can get back to making videos for you guys with some of the footage that I captured during the beta. Alright, so for today's video, I actually have some footage of the final stage of Moonbase Z. Not the full map, just the final stage, because if you guys who played the beta had the same experience that I did, you probably didn't get to experience the final stage of the Moonbase Z map, or if you did, it wasn't very often, maybe once or twice, but I actually didn't get to play this final stage for the entire beta until the very last day. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. During this gameplay, I was playing as a zombie, but I really wanted to play the magnet part of the map so bad that I purposefully didn't really defend the bases while I was playing. Whenever the plants started taking over each base, I just kind of let them, you know, I wasn't trying to contest it or anything because I wanted it to get to the final stage, so I kind of just let them push forward, and I guess my teammates either were doing the same thing or they just didn't defend very well. But either way, I think it was still worth it because everybody in the match got to experience the fun, crazy, ball-pushing chaos at the final stage of the map, and that sounds kind of weird, but you know what, that's what it is. So anyway, for those of you who are not familiar with the final stage of Moonbase Z, or who didn't get a chance to push the balls for yourself, basically the objective is to get these little magnetic balls into either the plant side or the zombie side, and if you're a zombie, you're trying to power up Dr. Zomboss's crazy magnetic machine where he's gonna like blast the earth with some kind of electromagnetic thing, and if you're a plant, you're obviously trying to prevent that from happening, so putting the magnetic balls in your side will turn off the magnetic switch. Now, like I said before, I only got to play the final stage of Moonbase Z on the very last day of the beta, and I think I only played the final stage like twice, and both times I was a zombie. But both times I had a ton of fun, and maybe that's because we were able to, you know, win and hold off the plants at the very last second in that final stage. But honestly, I think I really enjoyed this Magna Ball ending a little bit more than the Rose Castle ending on the Seeds of Time map, and maybe that's because I played that Rose Castle ending a lot more than I got to play the Moonbase Z map ending. But I think the Rose Castle ending on the Seeds of Time map is pretty similar to the Garden Warfare 1 final stages on those Gardens and Graveyards maps, because you have the zombies on offense, there's the cannons that you can blast out of to reach the other side, and you're pushing something up a hill, and so all of these things we've kind of experienced before in the Garden Warfare 1 final stages. But then when you have something like this, where both sides are trying to roll these magnetic balls everywhere, and it's this crazy tug of war for like 5 minutes straight, it actually feels pretty different, but it's still a lot of fun. And it also feels like both sides have an equal chance to claim the victory at the end. Now, this could also be because I wasn't playing as a plant, and maybe if I played as a plant, or those of you who did play as a plant would have something different to say about this final stage, because the fact that this final stage showed up so rarely for most of the people in the beta, it's not just myself, kind of says something about the balance between the plants being on offense versus defense. Now, I don't know if Moonbase Z has a Gardens and Graveyards version of it, but we only got to experience the Herbal Assault version during the beta, and I know some people felt that the plant team needed a bit of a buff because they just weren't strong enough to play offensively and make it all the way through the map. But at the same time, we also had a very limited amount of characters to choose from, and I think it'll be a lot different once the game is out and everybody gets to transfer their characters over. They start playing as the characters that they're comfortable with instead of just the new characters. So I want to wait and see how everything plays out once the game is released, and then we can see which characters actually need a buff or a nerf, etc. So anyway, I still think that the final stage of Moonbase Z is a ton of fun, at least what little I played of it anyway, and for this gameplay I was playing as the Zoologist, which is one of my new favorite scientists, guaranteed. I love this guy so much, I played with him a ton during the beta, and he has a really fast rate of fire, kind of like the Archaeologist, but I feel like he has a little bit more of an accurate shot. He also has less bullets than the Archaeologist, but he does a little bit more damage, I think. I'm not sure, I haven't quite compared the numbers or anything yet, but as long as they don't change him or, you know, nerf him or anything like that, this is definitely going to be one of my main scientists. I love the Zoologist. And it seems like a strategy for this final stage of Moonbase Z is a lot of people like to go for the tankier characters like the All-Star or Super Brains because they have more health, which is totally understandable, but I feel like being a scientist is actually a little bit better because since when you die in the middle of this you have to go all the way back at the start and then run all the way back out to try and push the balls, it just helps if you're able to pick up your teammates and help them get back into the fight right away instead of waiting for them to spawn back at the start again. So even though it's generally a good idea to play as a higher health character for this because you won't die as quickly, keep in mind they also move a little bit slower, and a character like a scientist can warp into the action much more quickly, and they move slightly faster anyway, so just choose your character wisely and try to have a balanced team composition going on. Now, another basic tip that you should keep in mind when playing this final stage is you should focus less on the balls and focus more on the opponents, which seems kind of counterintuitive at first because the whole objective is to push these magnetic balls into the little ports, but if you're working to try and push a ball all the way to your goal just to get vanquished right before it goes in and then they steal the ball away from you, then you did all that work for nothing. So when you dive into the action of this final stage, just be very mindful of your surroundings and try to focus on vanquishing any nearby opponents first before pushing the ball toward the goal. That way you can clear a nice pathway for your magnetic balls to go into your goal, and if anything, if you have good teammates, they will also help you out in pushing the ball or vanquishing opponents, so it will make the whole process a lot easier. Alright you guys, that is the final stage of Moonbase Z, and as you can see, if the plant team fails to turn off the magnetic switch, then Dr. Zomboss's magnetic machine will blast the Earth with a crazy magnetic charge. I'm not exactly sure what he's trying to do with that, but it looks pretty bad, so if you're a plant, you want to try to prevent that from happening. So I'm really hoping I'll get to experience this final stage of Moonbase Z more often once the game is released in February, and if you guys got to play this final stage during the beta, let me know what you think of it in the comments below. Now, I think my next video will probably be something about the characters during the beta and which ones were my favorites, so if you're looking forward to more Garden Warfare 2 content from myself, make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all of my uploads. As always, thank you so much for watching, stay strange my loves, and until next video, this is StrangeLuv signing out.